Let's talk about Tottenham's 1-0 win over Villarreal. Because even though that was, let's say, a boring game, because it was a boring game, I think it told us a lot about Tottenham, a lot about the project, a lot about what to expect under Thomas Frank, a lot about Tottenham's strengths, and a lot about their weaknesses. In fact, I think this was a very good game to really learn about Tottenham. And there's many things I want to talk about, like from this game. First of all, there's a few positives. 4 clean sheets out of 5 games, 4 wins out of 5. You look at Liverpool's win over Burnley, that was not pretty. You look at Liverpool's win over Bournemouth, wasn't particularly pretty. Liverpool's win over Newcastle wasn't particularly pretty. And I see a lot of Spurs fans being negative, but you won. How many times has Real Madrid won a game in the Champions League where they've not played well, but they won? You won. You got the 3 points. The most important thing is to win your home game, so you go through to the next round. You're done that. Villarreal, it's not as easy as you think. You've got to remember, you came 17th last season. You've only signed 2 major players in Kudus and Xavi Simons because Palhinha, Colomwani are loan players. The young centre back, not going to play a lot. You've only signed 2 major players. You finished 17th. Kulusevski and Maddison are injured. This is a work in progress. You cannot be expecting Thomas Frank to make you look amazing every game. You're going to have good games, you're going to have bad games. But the most important thing is, over the season, you see a level of improvement. And with Thomas Frank, we are seeing a level of improvement with Tottenham defensively. But there's questions over them creating chances and open play. They look better in set pieces. They look better defensively. But I do think that's a quality issue rather than a Thomas Frank issue. I think it would help with Xavi Simons playing centrally, and I think that's something Thomas Frank's got to try. But I understand why he likes Sarr winning those second balls. That goes down to the Tottenham board not going and getting a left winger. But there's so much I feel like that this game told us about Tottenham that I want to talk about. So yeah, elite teams, they don't always win well. There'll be a lot of Tottenham fans being negative, but look how Liverpool have played this season. They've won 4 games. They haven't been great. Look at Real Madrid, for example. 4 wins, 4 clean sheets. It's a statement. You've got the 3 points, and this is, for me, it's slow progress. I look at Tottenham, and I could tell you right now that Adam Wharton and Semenyo are the 2 signings you need to improve your side. And then I think Richarlison wasn't great today. I know he was all right in the other games. Wasn't great today. Solanke's questions over his fitness. Colm looks like a short-term deal. If I look at Tottenham and I think if everybody stays fit, you give them Adam Wharton, you bring in Semenyo, you move Xavi Simons into the 10, and then maybe you look at a striker to challenge Solanke, and I think that's a very complete Tottenham team. I'm going to be honest. I also think that Spence, Xavi Simons doesn't work together. And I saw someone else mention this, and I'm going to share that in a second. I think it would work better with a doggy if you're going to play Xavi Simons out wide. We're going to talk about that. So yeah, should we start with the positives? We got a few notes on everything that we'd learned. We'll start with the positives, which is Tottenham have conceded 1 goal in 5 games, I believe, which is the Bournemouth game. I mean, that's crazy compared to last season. You look at Ange Ball, that's absolutely crazy. Ange has had 1 game at Nottingham Forest and he's conceded more goals than Tottenham. So, that tells you something. And obviously, I've always said this, Romero and Van de Ven are very good centre-backs. I know Van de Ven almost gave away a penalty, but he had a very good game today. And they're very good centre-backs. And if they stay fit, they're very good. Those 2 players staying fit, Tottenham can easily get top 6 with those if those 2 stay fit. There's questions over attacking quality, creativity, creating chances, of course. But if those 2 stay fit, Tottenham are favourites for 5th. Because we know who the top 4 is going to be, but Tottenham are favourites for 5th if those 2 stay fit. Jed Spence probably wasn't his best game today. I don't think him and Xavi Simons work together. I think that Doggy would suit Xavi Simons better. But Jed Spence, the good thing about him is he can play on the right if you need to drop Porro, rest Porro. I felt that Tottenham were a lot more dangerous on the right-hand side, which, look, it happens. You look at Arsenal, they've always been more dangerous on the right-hand side with Saka, Ben White, Odegaard compared to their left. But I felt like Kudus had a really good game bar the end product today, but I felt like Tottenham were looking at Kudus too much because he's so good 1v1 and he can drive the ball forward. That is one thing to bear in mind. I thought the right-hand side was a lot more at it. Tottenham, actually, weird stat I found, unbeaten in their last 21 UEFA games at home, with 56 goals scored and 13 conceded, 11 clean sheets. So that's very impressive. And look, Thomas Frank has organised Spurs. He's making Spurs a difficult team to break down. It's not easy to win against Tottenham. So let's talk about my man of the match, Lucas Bergvall. Lucas Bergvall was man of the match today. He's 19 years of age and he was running the midfield. I think Tottenham were a lot better in the first half than the second half. And I thought that Bentancur maybe struggled because he was a little bit isolated at times. But I thought that Bergvall and Sarr had good games. But particularly Bergvall, again, I think he was my man of the match. He's 19. One thing that was really good about him and one thing that's really improved is off the ball runs where he's coming out wide, which resulted in the goal from his cross. Like, he's making those support runs, whether it's for Kudus, whether it's going to be on the left for Xavi Simons, but it's resulting in things happening. And I think that brings an element to his game because when I look at Bergvall, there's a player that's very comfortable receiving the ball at all angles. A guy that actually is quite tall and quite physical, actually. Like, he's stronger than he looks for a young guy. He's not easy to push off the ball, but it's the timing of his runs which is good. Again, he's 19, so he's only going to get better and better, but he's physically pretty good and he's technically pretty good. He's comfortable in every area of the pitch. And I feel like he's becoming Spurs' most important midfielder. Like, Sarr's been unbelievable under Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank loves Sarr. And as much as I think Xavi Simons is a 10, I get why he's positioning with Sarr in the 10 because he's done so well. But I still think Bergvall is just offers something unique because Tottenham definitely lack in central progression. And even today, I don't think Tottenham's central progression was great. And while Bergvall was really good going forward making those runs, Bergvall has the ability to drop deep and potentially help with central progression because right now, if you're looking at Tottenham's best ball progressor, it is Christian Romero. Fantastic ball progressor, fantastic on the ball, but that is Tottenham's best ball progressor by a long way. So to have someone that's maybe good at receiving the ball, maybe you can even use Bergvall deeper. So as I said, I thought the right side of Tottenham was very, very dominant. So much of Spurs' play goes through that right side, with Kudus on the right. So much of the play goes to the right side. And I think that Kudus is fantastic. I think he's end product like today, but you can't push him off the ball. He's so physically good. I think Tottenham are just this excellent press resistant team, and 1v1, Kudus is there, but I think the final ball lacked tonight, and it's not just a Kudus thing. I think there was a lot of times where Tottenham played this ball to nobody. And I think the decision making from the Tottenham attack wasn't great. Like, we look at Thomas Frank, defensively, he's improved you. Set pieces, he's improved you. The one area hasn't super improved you is final third creativity, and some of it is due to lack of qualities, players making the wrong decisions. Some of it is due to more defensive approach from Thomas Frank. Tottenham are struggling to break teams down, and I think the one game you went 1-0 down in against Bournemouth, you didn't really do anything. And that's definitely a concern, and that's a problem that Tottenham are going to have this season, but need to find solutions to. And I think bringing Xavi Simons in, a creative player, but then not playing him centrally, there's questions over that. But I do think that Tottenham's right-hand side was good. I thought Bergvall was making runs for Kudus, and I think that Spurs just need a Semenyo and an Adam Wharton, and they're not going to be complete after finishing 17th in one season. It is a work in progress at Tottenham, but it's the creativity issue is the issue they have. And I think Xavi Simons has a lot of quality and a lot of nice little touches, Xavi Simons, but we haven't seen the best of him at Tottenham. And I think H made a good point here. Love Spence, but for balance, if you're going to play Xavi Simons as a left winger who comes inside on the pitch with or without the ball, you need someone like a doggy for balance because a doggy likes to stay out wide. So for him to come in, you need the balance. Spence and Simons have similar tendencies. And as good as Spence is, it's harsh to drop him. But when you look at a doggy and how he likes to be wider and that gives Xavi Simons more freedom to come inside, it works better. Because there was a couple of times when Xavi Simons came more inside and he combined with Kudus and he had a few nice touches. You can see with Xavi Simons, this is a tidy player. This is a very tidy player. And I think if you want to get the best out of him, you want him in those central areas. Or you want at least a doggy to be the overlapping left back so he can become more central. Because I think Spurs' attack would be better if he was linking with Kudus. Because what we're seeing from Xavi Simons is a few little nice touches and passes. But we know he can do more. We know there's a quality player. Like, Xavi Simons is one of those players, and I don't mean this in a rude way about Spurs. But I'm like, I can't believe he plays for Spurs. I can't believe Spurs signed him. And I don't mean that in like a rude way. But he's one of those players that are like, wow, Spurs got him. Like, Spurs got this guy. Like, this guy is, do you know what I mean? And I think to see that guy, you want him in the 10. Like, I don't think he's been bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think he's been all right, tidy, but you want to see more. And you know he can bring more. So yeah, let's talk about Tottenham. Attack is a work in progress. They struggle with central ball progression and creativity. And that's something that Thomas Frank may need to find solutions to. I think it is a quality issue. We saw what Thomas Frank did with Brentford's attack and how good it was. I think it's a quality issue. Brennan Johnson has the end product, but he doesn't bring anything else. Kudus brings everything else, but maybe lacks the end product. You almost want, if you could give Brennan Johnson Kudus' dribbling ability, there you go. You got your left winger. I think it is a quality issue. Like Richarlison, he's good in the box. He's good at being a nuisance, but he's not good at holding up play. And we saw that today. Solanke's had fitness issues. Madison's injured. Kulusevski's injured. I do think it's a personnel issue. I don't think it's a Thomas Frank issue. I think that he just hasn't quite got the people there. I'd quite like to see Alderweireld get more opportunities. I quite like him. I think he's a player with confidence that could grow. I think he's direct. He likes to dribble. I don't think Richarlison was great to be honest. But look, Tottenham are really good off the ball. Frank's improved them there. Very good at set pieces. He's maximised the squad. Seeing Bergvall, and it's crazy to think that a couple of days ago people were doubting Bergvall because he wasn't playing a lot under Thomas Frank, and I was like, "What? You're 3 games into the season? He got injured the back end of last season, and he was your best player last season. Like Bergvall was probably being eased into the season because of injury. He was your best player last season, and some people were thinking after 3 games, oh, is he in trouble? I thought it was crazy. But yeah, what is next for Spurs? What is next for Spurs? Because look, Spurs can't hide from the truth after this win. The truth is, Thomas Frank's building a foundation. He's improving the defence, and Tottenham are defensively strong, but they need to work on attack. They need a transfer window to bring in a dynamic left winger and a ball progressing defensive midfielder. Adam Wharton and Semenyo are the perfect options. I don't know if you'll get them. Spurs have got defensive stability. They now need attacking fluidity. That's what Spurs need. But they're developing. It's a work in progress. You're not going to go from 17th to the final product in 1 year. You're not. And I think Thomas Frank is doing a good job. Thank you for watching. Bye.